Welcome to the Ed Answer Key, the podcast where in the time it takes to complete hall duty and attendance, we embark on an educational adventure for both teachers and families. So whether you're a seasoned educator or a family navigating the school system, buckle up for the Ed Answer Key.
Next topic, curiosity. The feeling that makes you want to figure out things that are puzzling or learn more about something you're interested in. One of the parts of a lesson that I really wanted to focus on was the anticipatory set. Like just your intro. Like my favorite movie is Stand and Deliver. And Stand and Deliver, there's a scene that's in there where Jamie Escalante, Edward James Olmos, who's playing Jamie Escalante, goes in and he's dressed up. He's got an apron on. He's got this huge knife and he's got an apple. And he's just cutting this apple up. He's like, what do you have? And he just starts out his lesson with, what do you have? I got half of it. And he's like, he goes to another student. He's like, what do you have? And he's eating the whole thing. He's like, I got a core. He's like, you owe me. He's like, you owe me the whole thing. He's like, I'm going to take you to people's court. And then he goes to somebody else. She's like, you've got 3/4. He's like, what? The quiet student says, I've got 3/4 because a quarter of it was cut out. He's like, exactly. So that was how he introed fractions. You had to pay attention to the teacher that came in with the chef's hat on and the apron with the huge butcher knife and the food that's on the table. So it's like you hooked them. I knew that movie before I became a teacher. And I reference that movie a lot in my teaching because it is very basic, but it is very essential. So like how many of the lessons that I was like, that kind of fell flat, didn't have an anticipatory set? It's so easy, but it's so easy not to do it. And so like, how am I setting those things up? How many professional developments have I had on anticipatory sets? 0. When's the last time somebody taught me about anticipatory set? I was in my master's program. But I feel like that is such an essential part of creating that curiosity for a student. You set that anticipatory setup, then their brain is locked in on that framework for that 45 or hour and 15 minutes that you've got them. Am I going to mic drop on this?
No,
okay.
No. I mean, go ahead and mic drop. You said it perfect. I mean, my first year teaching as a title teacher, I worked with a teacher. And he showed me the importance of an anticipatory set. And sometimes it would just be an idea that he got that morning. And he's like, we're about to roll with it. Just watch. And 9 times out of 10, it always worked out. Usually I can tell he kind of thought of it before. But as far as finalizing things, sometimes it would just be day of. Like, I just thought about this. Like, it was the anticipatory set that hooked the kids and had them stay. And as the lesson went on, even if they strayed, maybe because they weren't picking something up, we could always pull back to the anticipatory set because it was an opener for everyone. I mean, it was entry level for everybody. Everybody had a way in. And he taught me, and yes, I've had PDs and stuff, but he showed me the importance of exit tickets. So what I've learned from my first year and how huge anticipatory sets are, if I don't have a good anticipatory set, my exit ticket is trash. My check understanding is trash. They're not hooked the whole time. I'm losing them. So I agree with you. It makes my check for understanding so much more valuable. And that allows me and my co-teacher to change our plans for the next day. If going off of what we've seen, we're able to modify for the next day because I was able to hook them so well, keep them with me. They were more intentional with their check understanding. Anytime we can't fit an anticipatory set in a new subject, we always see it fail.
I think curiosity too, outside of anticipatory sets, is more than just like whatever the content is that you're teaching, because I can think of, for example, I had a student asking questions like life things, just thinking about how their minds work and being open to one of the things I used to do is have them tell me what they were going to do for the weekend. And it could not be, I don't know. They had to literally tell me something, and I would let them tell me if I was able to share. I wouldn't share everyone, but when their classmates started seeing things that they did, or maybe family things that were a routine for them, and then they just start asking questions. So just being able to ask questions regardless of whether it is content related or not, and get them in that habit, and then you can start honing in or continue to hone in on content specific things that they're curious about, and sometimes some of those questions they ask will tie into what you're talking about. But if it's not, that's okay, because if you're curious, I want you to ask and seek out the answer, and there might not be an answer. I think there's all types of curiosities that the students can ask, and whatever it is, we need to absorb it and take it in and use it whatever way that we can.
I agree. And I think the power in stopping a lesson, even for the moment, to answer questions like that can lead, and most of the time they do lead back into the lesson. And it's a much more powerful experience for them, because they're able to connect their curiosity with educational curiosity as well. It's not just one way outside of the world thinking. And I can really appreciate that.
Thanks so much for joining us for this episode of the Ed Answer Key. Your support means the world to us. Be sure to stay in the loop about upcoming topics by downloading our free podcast companion at www.edanswerkey.com. So until next time, class dismissed.